It's 6:47 a.m. Someone texts you, "Hey, can we talk later?" No context, no emoji, just that. And your stomach drops. You don't think, "Oh, they probably just need to catch up." You think, "Someone died," or they're angry at you, or you said something wrong last week and this is it. This is the moment it all falls apart. It doesn't stop there. Your manager goes quiet in a Monday meeting, and you spend the rest of the day convinced you're getting fired. Your partner takes 20 minutes to reply to, "What do you want for dinner?" And somewhere in those 20 minutes, you've already rehearsed the breakup conversation. You spend hours preparing for things that never happen, apologizing in your head for things you haven't done, bracing. The thing is, nothing bad happens. They just wanted to tell you about a new job, but you were already miles away, already deep in the wreckage of an outcome you invented yourself. If that sounds familiar, this video is for you. There's a name for what just happened actually, 2 names, and the difference matters. Psychologists talk about defensive pessimism, a conscious strategy where someone deliberately lowers their expectations before a big event to reduce anxiety. It's intentional, it's chosen, and for a lot of people, it works. But that's not what's happening here. It's called hypervigilance, and the key word is automatic. You're not choosing to scan for danger. Your nervous system is doing it for you, without asking, before you've even put your phone down. It feels less like a strategy, and more like living with a smoke detector that never turns off. Every situation, every silence, every unanswered message triggers it. The alarm, the brace, the quiet, exhausting preparation for impact. This isn't about being negative. It's not about personality. It's about a nervous system that learned somewhere, a long time ago, that hope was the most dangerous thing you could carry. The next few minutes are going to feel uncomfortably familiar. Here's where it starts. Not with you, with someone much smaller than you. A child, maybe 7 years old. It's 5:55 p.m. They're at the kitchen table doing homework, headphones in, but they're not listening to music. They're counting. The microwave clock says 5:56. Their parent was supposed to be home by 6. When the door doesn't open on time, the evening goes one of 2 ways, and neither of them is good. So the child does something remarkable. Quietly, without knowing what they're doing, they start running simulations. What if I've already cleaned my room? What if I stay quiet? What if I prepare for the worst, so the worst has less power when it arrives? Research shows that kids in unpredictable homes don't always go passive. Sometimes they go the opposite direction. They become hypervigilant, always scanning, always 3 steps ahead of disaster. Not because they chose to, because it worked. That child doesn't know they're developing a coping strategy. They think they're just surviving Tuesday. That strategy works. It actually works. The child who braces absorbs less shock when things go wrong. The teenager who expects rejection doesn't crumble when it comes. The adult who mentally rehearses failure is rarely caught completely off guard. The nervous system is efficient. It learns. Anticipating pain is cheaper than experiencing it, and so it starts doing it, automatically, without permission, without a reason. This is the moment an adaptation becomes a pattern. What was once a specific response to a specific threat becomes the default setting for everything: a Tuesday morning text, a pause before a friend responds, a quiet moment in a good relationship where nothing is actually wrong. Your brain is running old code written for a world that no longer exists. The map was drawn for a war zone. You've been living in a quiet neighborhood for years, and the map still says, danger ahead. Don't trust the silence. The cost isn't just anxiety. It's the joy you spent before it arrived. The relationships held at arm's length because closeness felt like debt. The opportunities declined before the invitation fully landed. Now here's what nobody ever tells you. The same skill that made you exhausted also made you perceptive in a way other people simply aren't. You're the friend who notices, at a party, that someone's smile stopped reaching their eyes 20 minutes ago before they've said a word. You're the coworker who quietly started updating their resume 3 months before the layoffs, while everyone else was blindsided. You're the one who had the hospital bag packed, the emergency contacts written down, the plan ready, and when it mattered, you were the calmest person in the room, because you'd already been there 100 times in your head. There's a quiet competence to people who always expect the worst. They prepare thoroughly. They don't leave things to chance. The wound became a skill. The skill came at a cost. Both things are true. Which brings us to something uncomfortable. That child learned it from someone, and that someone was once a child too. Picture a grandmother young, in a different country, in a different decade, when there wasn't enough. She rationed food long after the rationing was over. But it wasn't just what she did, it was what happened to her face when the phone rang after dark. That slight pause, that particular stillness before she reached for it, her body asking the question her mouth never would, is this the call? That fear didn't stay with her. It moved through the air of the house, through what got checked twice, through the particular silence when money was mentioned. And someone who grew up in that house carried it forward, into a new home, a new child. That child was you, or someone who raised you, or someone who raised them. You didn't invent this pattern, you inherited it. And that matters not because it removes your responsibility to change, but because it changes the story. You're not broken. You're downstream. So here's the moment. The still one. Picture that child at the kitchen table, headphones in, counting the minutes, being so careful. Now picture someone sitting across from them, not to rescue them, not to fix it, just to say, I see what you're doing. I know why. You can stop now. Nobody came then. But you're here now, and you can be that person for yourself. So, back to that text. Hey, can we talk later? The alarm fires. And this time you notice it. That noticing is the whole game, not fixing it, not talking yourself out of it, just catching the moment before the story takes over. You feel the drop in your stomach. You don't reach for the spiral. Instead, you ask yourself one question. Is this real, or is this old code? Say it quietly, to yourself. 3 words. Research shows that verbalizing what's happening in your nervous system interrupts the automatic cycle. It creates a tiny gap between the alarm and the story, and in that gap, you get to choose. You won't do this perfectly. Sometimes you'll catch it after 20 minutes of spiraling, not before. That's fine. The practice isn't about being faster than your nervous system. It's about learning its patterns until one day the alarm fires and your first thought isn't what's wrong, but there it is again. And then come down to the comments and tell me, what does your alarm sound like? What's the situation that always sets it off, even when you know, logically, that you're probably fine? Leave it below, because someone is going to read your comment at 2 a.m. and feel, maybe for the first time, like they're not the only one wired this way. If this one hits somewhere real, subscribe, because what we're building here isn't a channel, it's a map, and every day we go deeper.